I'm not moving very fast, sorry.
It's all right. They don't have to move fast. No real reason for our age to move fast. Is there?
He's gonna say something. Go ahead.
No, I think we're laughing over here.
Yeah.
But, Alex, Shed, he laughs at everything I say. That's good.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mike Trosel. I'm the director of the World Golf Hall of Fame, and it is my honor to introduce two World Golf Hall of Fame members and two players who won their U.S. Opens at Oakmont Country Club in 1962 and 1973. Jack Nicklaus, an 18-time professional major champion, and won the very first of those right here at Oakmont in 1962. And Johnny Miller, the 1973 U.S. Open champion, closed that victory with an 8 under 63, a scoring record in all majors that lasted for more than 40 years. Now, Jack, you came here as a 22-year-old. You had just turned professional just before that in the previous fall. What was the key to your victory that week on a course that was, really one of the toughest courses in the entire world?
The key was to beat Arnold Palmer. That was the key. The key to that point is, I didn't know much about Oakmont. I didn't know anything about Oakmont. I came in, 10 days before the tournament and played a couple of times, and then went over and played the first Thunderbird that we had. I finished second over there, and I'd won. I'd finished second in 60 and fourth in 61, and I sort of felt like this was my Open, and I didn't realize that, as a 22-year-old might not, that I was in Arnold Palmer's backyard. And so the key to me was that I loved USGA setups. I loved the way Joe Dye set up golf courses. I knew that you had to drive the ball straight. I knew that putting was going to be a premium on this golf course. And, I was talking to some of the guys in there, in the locker room a few minutes ago, and they're saying, I said, well, what do you think? I said, well, obviously the key, putting is the key out here. I said, I three-putted the 55th green, which I had one three-putt that week. I'm still ticked off that I three-putted that one. And, but that's sort of my mindset is, you basically, you had to figure these greens out and not let them get to you. And be patient. 1 under par won the tournament. And, 1 under par doesn't win a lot of tournaments today, but it did then.
And Johnny, in 1973, you started the final round 6 strokes back. You're tied for 13th place. You had guys like Mr. Nicklas, Arnold Palmer, Lee Trevino, Gary Player, all in front of you. At what point in that final round did you start to think, man, I might have a chance to win this championship?
Well, I was pretty upset about the 76 I shot the day before. I had forgot my yardage. I had walked some of the holes, and my caddy used to just, if you wanted to caddy in the U.S. Open, you just put your name in the hat, so to speak. And my caddy, Bodine, his name was, I asked him, well, where do you caddy? And I said, you're a pretty good player. And he said, no, I'm a caddy, but I've never caddied for anybody that broke 90 before. And I was like, well, that's going to be a big help for me. But yeah, getting back to it, I was pretty down in the dumps after the 76. I thought, well, that's the end of that. I'd played well the 3 U.S. Opens before, top 10 finishes, and after I birdied the first hole, that was nice start. That's a tough birdie there, and then I birdied number 2, which wasn't as tough, and I hit an 8-iron about this far from the hole, and then 3, which was probably the hardest hole on the golf course back then. Made about a 20-foot putt there for another birdie, and then hit it in the bunker on 4, the par 5, and hit it a good bunker shot out about this far from the hole, and walked off the green. And I thought, dang, I was 6 back and 4 under now, and the leaders might be nervous, and I might only be 1 or 2 behind, and I got ahead of myself like a lot of golfers do when they think they're going to play their best round of their life. When they think, well, I got 6 holes to go. If I just do this, I'm going to hit my best round. But I got a surge of adrenaline, and started to be very tentative. My weakness in golf was my putting, and I mean I could putt good at times, but after the 4th hole, I thought, well, I got a shot here, if I keep it up.
Well, that's terrific. And for both of you who have won here in the U.S. Open, what qualities and aspects of your game do you think need to be especially sharp as we get into Saturday and Sunday here in the 2025 U.S. Open? What should we be looking for this week?
Patience. Basically, that's what you have to. Obviously, you have to play good golf, but just be patient with it. And I think that I was a leaderboard watcher, and I always wanted to see who was on the leaderboard, and I adjusted my play a lot to who was on the leaderboard, and that's basically what I think guys do if they want to win golf tournaments. They need to know where they are and need to know what their competition's doing, and they need to be patient with themselves and play good, solid golf.
Well, I have to say, as my wife, who's here somewhere, just get it in the fairway. I mean, really, Jack was really the first guy that would hit a 3-wood or a 1-iron off the tees, which other guys never did. I mean, almost nobody did. And
Most guys went ahead and drove it and did it in the rough, right?
yeah, and so I mean, when you get the ball in the fairway, you can work the ball if you need to, and you just eliminate so many mistake upon mistakes. So, if you hit here in this rough, and then you try to get too much out of the lie, you get even more trouble. So still all about hitting that ball in the fairway. You see the guys that don't, like Bryson DeChambeau. I mean, he was living in the rough there this last couple days, and of course he gets to watch it on TV today. But yeah, you got to hit it in the fairway. And then got to be able to handle the U.S. Open pressure. There's a lot of guys, like Jack was sort of alluding to, that the thought of winning a U.S. Open is a little out of their comfort zone. So there's only a certain kind of player that can win a U.S. Open, especially on Sunday.
Very good. We're going to open it up to some questions. If you have one, please raise your hand. We'll have a mic come over. Doug.
For both of you, I don't know if the USGA did it then as they do now, but sometimes they'll ask a champion to donate the one club that was critical to them winning that week. What would it have been for you?
Could you hear all that?
Here? Yeah,
Did you
what
hear that,
club
Jack?
is critical to winning here? Here, Doug?
Yeah, when you won in 62 and John.
Well, I
73.
three-putted one time in 90 holes. I always had my laughs with Arnold. You've heard me say it before, but I told Arnold, I said, I shot 39 at Cherry Hills to lose to him there, and told Arnold, I said, Arnold, if I hadn't shot 39 in the last 9 holes at Cherry Hills, nobody had ever heard of you. And he said, yeah. He said, now if I hadn't 3-putted 8 times at Oakmont, nobody had ever heard of you either. So it works both ways, and that's probably right. I mean, if Arnold hadn't 3-putted 8 times, he'd have won the tournament. If it was 8 times, whatever the number was. But the key to Oakmont to me was not 3-putting.
For me, I sort of was up and down the first couple of days. I wasn't really hitting the ball that great, and especially on the 3rd round when I shot the 76. I did not play well at all tee to green, and then I don't know, on that last round it was like my guardian angel up there said, okay, we're going to put together a perfect round of golf. And it was literally a perfect round of golf. I mean, it was like I missed one fairway on 11 just by a couple feet, but the fact I hit every green and hit the ball underneath the hole, only had one putt that was a little bit downhill, and that's hard to do at Oakmont, to hit 18 greens and have no downhill putts. So, but yeah, that round was just, I guess, was meant to be because I was not playing that great. I'd played with Arnold Palmer the first 2 rounds, which was back in those days was a crazy experience with his gallery. His gallery they were crazy, and crazy good. And but to get through the gauntlet of playing with Arnold on the first 2 rounds was pretty good. We both shot 140, and just handling the pressure that week that was the other part.
And Jack, you played obviously with Arnold in the playoff, but in the first 2 rounds as well in 1962. What was that like for you?
Well, Arnie was the top player in the game at the time. He was it won the Masters earlier in the year. He was he was a guy you had to beat if you wanted to win, and particularly here. And so it was really kind of funny because I never really heard the gallery. I was a 22-year-old kid with blinders on and not smart enough to figure out that that people rooted for people. I just went out and played golf, and that's what I did. And and I never really considered Arnold as something different. Arnold took me under his wing when I turned pro, and he never treated me anything other than as an equal, and became one of the closest friends I've ever had in the game. And we just I didn't look at it that way. He was another guy that he wanted to beat me, and I wanted to beat him, and I guess that's what happened through the years with the 2 of us.
There's a question over here on the right. Luke?
Yeah, I just had 2 questions. The first, Jack, a lot of people online and on TV love to make comparisons between your golf swing and Scottie Scheffler's golf swing. Do you see the resemblance there? And if so, what do you like about Scottie's golf swing, and does it remind it of you?
Well, I don't think there's a whole lot of resemblance. The swing path is Scottie's is very good, and I felt like my swing path was pretty good. Johnny's swing path was very good, but most good players' swing path is good. Scottie has an unusual way of coming into the ball and having his right foot slide behind him, but that evidently allows him to get his right hip not into the shot but out of the way, and allows him to stay hands close to his body and swing down a plane. That was one of my keys, is to always get my hands as close to my body as I could. I mean, I remember Byron Nelson, when I went to see him years ago. Jack Grout sent me down to see him, and Byron made one statement. He says, "I don't believe you could ever have your hands too close to your body as you swing." And I felt like that's getting your arms and hands underneath you swing. Johnny was very much the same way. You were well under the ball, and hands were way close to your body. When your hands get away from your body, then you make bad swings. And Scottie didn't do that.
Yeah, Scottie's got sort of an old-fashioned swing. When you watch his club, most guys are playing the club is coming in like this and then going that way. He goes like Jack, and even the way I swung with, especially my irons, right up the line and right down the line.
Yep.
And it keeps the face square longer, so I think that's an advantage. And it also, when you're this way, you can get out of the rough a lot better than the guys that are going inside and going through all the grass behind the ball. So. Yeah, he's got some unusual footwork, but a little bit like Calcavecchia and Greg Norman with the right foot coming into the ball. The right foot pulls this way.
They did, didn't they?
Yeah, they pull it in, and it sort of hits a high fade. When you make that move with the right foot, pulling it back in the hitting zone, it's a high fade, in which Jack loves that high fade. So.
Question over here in the back left, Amon. Hi.
Incidentally, I've never heard my swing analyzed that way. He was dead on. That was really good.
Thanks.
That was really good.
Thank you.
It's a question.
No, it was. I never heard you do that. I think, well done. Thank you, both ways. Okay.
It's a question for both of you. I was wondering what you guys thought about.
are
Right here, sir. Right here. I have a question for both of you. I was wondering what you guys thought about name, image, likeness in the context of the modern collegiate game.
What we thought about what?
Name, image, and likeness (NIL), and the impact on the modern game of golf.
I didn't understand you. Did you understand it?
No, I can't hear anything.
Well, you can't hear anything, and I can't understand anything. So outside of that, we don't know what you're talking about. Did you hear it?
The question is about name, image, and likeness in the game of golf.
What about it?
Mon, what's the question about
What,
name, image,
what,
and
what,
likeness?
what do you guys think about it, and what do you think would be the impact on the modern game of golf? At least, given all the endorsement deals that collegiate players have today.
I still have no clue what he's talking about.
Name, image, and likeness and impact on the game of golf.
Name, image, and likeness impact on the game of golf?
Well, both, I guess, on
I don't-
professional golf.
Well, I
Did
don't
you- did you hear
understand what.
College golf now, like amateur golf, they can receive money from name, image.
Is that what you're talking about?
Before you couldn't do that.
That's my son Todd.
Oh, the NIL?
Yes.
That's my son Todd. There.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and like college golf, now the college players are receiving money through their name, image, and likeness, and you guys back in the day couldn't do that, So
Thank you so
When we
much.
played
That's what I
college
meant.
golf, we couldn't.
Yeah, like college golfers, and then I guess it affects.
That's what I meant, yes.
Too, feeds into that more, but, kind of just, what are your guys' thoughts if they play junior and amateur golf of receiving money just on their name, image, likeness?
Do I like it?
Yeah.
No.
Well, they always say money corrupts, so I hope it doesn't corrupt the values of the game.
I think what you're asking is basically the college players, college and amateur players. Is that what you're asking? And my feeling is, I do not like what's going on in college athletics today. I don't think a lot of people like what's going on particularly. I think the athletes like it, but I think that. And I think that, you look at most of your scholarship athletes are athletes who could not take a job. They're sponsored by the school, paid for their education, which I think is great. But athletes have never been able to receive any money where they could go home for a weekend or take a girl out on a date, or they couldn't have a job while they're working. That's part of their deal. I don't like that part of it. I think athletes should get a stipend of some kind. Well, I don't know how much. I think that probably depends on what the situation is. But I don't like the idea that you got the best team money can buy. I don't like that. I don't think that's what you're asking, isn't it? Yeah, I don't like that part of it. I think we're all caught up into it. All the colleges are caught up into it. I don't think they can figure out a way to get out of it. I hope they do. NCAA has not evidently been able to control it. It's I think it's a shame. You see guys today that could go play a fifth year of college football, can make more money than if they decide to go into the draft. And I don't think that's really the right way to see things happen. I don't fault them. I fault the system.
We're going to go down here in the front right.
That answer your question? Donnie, you have any more on that?
I just think that it would be better probably if every guy that made let's say the top athletes got a certain stipend for being there at the school, but not all different, like one guy getting $1 million or whatever. I think it should just be a nice amount of money, but nothing like what they're getting now. But it's tough once you let the cat out of the bag. It's sort of I don't know. It's
Very difficult.
yeah, it's very difficult.
down here.
Gentlemen, you've each mentioned Arnold's name a couple of times. Given that we're here in Pittsburgh, may I ask you both to recount Arnold Palmer's impact on the game?
Arnold's impact on the game? Well, Arnold had obviously an enormous impact on the game. Arnold, in many ways, we feel like popularized the game of golf. I mean, he came along when basically television came along, and maybe television was great for Arnold, but Arnold was great for television and great for the game. And you know, he had a flair about him that nobody else had, and people loved him, and and rightfully so. He earned what he got. He did a great job.
I agree with exactly what he said. You know, Arnie had a sort of like a Seve Ballesteros, sort of an aura about him. Not that they did anything like Chichi Rodriguez, who I love, but I mean, it wasn't like he was entertaining. It's just there's something about the way they walk and handle themselves, and you know, Arnie was a man's man. You know, big time man's man. He could have been with John Wayne as two leading guys in a movie. You know. But yeah, it's nice to have a guy like that can help push the game along, like Tiger Woods did.
Go to John down here in the front center.
Johnny, Jack referred earlier to having 1 3-putt and that it ticked him off. Do you recall?
John over here.
Yeah. Do you recall how many 3-putts you had?
I know on the last round I 3-putted the 8th hole. I hit a 4-wood right on line with the pin and underneath the hole 25 feet, and I left it short and missed a putt about that long. Did a 360, but I didn't have that many 3-putts. I don't try to remember how many 3-putts I had, so I'll let that for some.
Couldn't have many.
Huh?
Couldn't have many.
No, I didn't have any other on Sunday anyway.
We got Adam over here on the right side.
Johnny over here.
Johnny,
Guys,
right over to the right side.
Who's it for?
right here.
Yeah.
Hi. Good to see you. Could you guys talk about the quality that you most admire about each other, both personally and professionally?
Well, I'll go first this time. You know, he's not a normal guy, this guy. He's just, he just believes in what he can do, and he had the length, and he had the high ball, and nobody could hit a 1-iron like he could. Nobody concentrated more than him. Nobody really, you know, he would be there. Imagine in a major championship, this guy would be there a week early, and for 4 or 5 days, he's the only guy that had been on the property. Who do you think once the bell rang on Thursday, who do you think he believed deserves to win? And that this feeling of deserving to excel and win is a huge part of athletics. If you feel like Scottie Scheffler, he believes he works harder on his game than anybody else, and there's something about that when Ben Hogan, nobody hit more balls than Ben, right? And that feeling of deserving is a huge part of being successful.
Well, Johnny Miller is obviously really good player. I loved his swing arc. I loved the way he played. I loved the Johnny was a streaky player, and that once he got his putter rolling, get out of the way, because he made a lot of putts, and but Johnny carried that sort of. I suppose when you get that thing going, a little bit of a swashbuckling attitude into broadcasting too. And he played it as it was, and I think he said it as it was when he was on the air. And I think you admire a guy for sometimes he's going to take a little bit of a hit for sometimes what he said, but for the most part, that's what he thought. And I can't criticize somebody for saying what they thought. And Johnny did a really good job of that. Through the years of his broadcasting, he was probably the most insightful guy out there.
Johnny, do you wish you stayed in TV a little longer?
Do I wish I kept announcing? I got it. I'm just thinking about it. You know, that was my 50th year in golf. When I got to 29 years with NBC, it seemed like a nice time to leave. And I still had my wits about me and had my own way of doing things. Like when I played in the East Coast especially, they'd go, "Hey, Johnny, we love you. Keep telling it like it is." And what people liked about my announcing was that I just said what I'd say to my best friend in my own house and talking to the TV. You know, it was sort of like, it is what it is. You know, if a guy duck hooks on the last hole and hadn't hooked a ball in a month, you know, you might be choking, you know. And I was the first guy to use that word, which is not a very nice word, but I thought the greatness of golf was the choke factor. I just still think that that's the greatness of golf, is to be able to handle pressure. If you can handle pressure, like Jack liked to hang around, you know, the first 3 days and then just feel like on the last days he got a huge advantage. You know, he believed in himself and not only believe in himself, he could produce on that last round and handle the putt or the shot. And I was more of a guy that didn't like it to be close. He liked it to be close. I wanted to win it by. I won the Phoenix Open by 14 shots. You know, I like to just, if that ball's going in the hole, I'm going to fill it up until the round's over if I can. So there's none of this fancy stuff about, you know, hitting away from the target. I wanted to have the thrill of going for knocking the pins out of the green. You know, that was my fun. You know, I like to drive fast and hit hard with the driver and that kind of stuff. So I don't know. Everybody does it differently, but that's just the way I thought.
Very good. Question over here, Alex on the left.
Yeah, for both of you, since you were talking, Johnny,
You
about
got to talk really loud.
Is that loud? Too loud?
No, I want it louder.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
There you go. Everybody hear that? Thank you.
You were talking about doing things differently. The purse this week is $21.5 million, and the winner gets $4.3 million, and even if you miss the cut, you got $10,000. Can you talk about how different your lives would be if you were playing for those numbers?
Actually, I don't think it made any difference, Alex. We played at a time when it was what it was. I think I won $13,000 when I won here in '62. I don't know what your prize was, Johnny. Probably 25,000.
Yes, when you won, it would either the lesser tournaments were like 20,000, and good tournaments was 25 for first place, and the bigger ones were 30,000 in our era.
That's what it was, Alex. And, you know, would I have loved to have had what's going on here when we played? Yeah, obviously all of us would. But I'm also was really pleased that I know Johnny and myself are both sort of trailblazed the way for what's happening today. And had we, you know, I think you look back at Hogan and Snead and those guys trailblazed it for us. And I mean, I know how far off I am, but like Hogan's lifetime earnings were $400 and some thousand. And you know, the guys today, I mean, you say they're winning 10 times that to win the tournament here.
Yeah, Scottie Scheffler, what do you win?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable.
It was like $80 million or something last year, some crazy amount.
But I mean, you know, Alex, would it have changed our life? I would hope not. I would hope that we probably would try to live our life very similar. I've enjoyed what I've done. I love playing the game of golf. I've loved my design work. I love being involved with being able to take and utilize what I have to be able to, in charity, and help others. They're all things that I don't think would have made any difference whether we were playing for what we played or for what they played for today. If we'd had the ability to do that, I think tried to do the same thing.
The big difference is the guys make so much money that What do you think? Does it think it helps your hungry and playing hard? You know, it used to be where you had to you had to make some money to be able to take care of your wife and maybe child or whatever, and made golf more of a competitive thing, and guys would play more tournaments because they're trying to make it while they can. So,
We had to go win tournaments to make a name, to make a living.
yeah.
Today they make a living playing golf.
All right, Jack, Johnny, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Have a great rest of the week. Thanks, everyone.
Okay?
Thank the USGA too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.